Today, a group in the Mid-Ohio Valley held a protest about abolishing ICE and no war for oil. Over 100 community members protested in Vienna, according to a member of the group. The Indivisible group of the Mid-Ohio Valley protested no war for oil and abolishing ICE in Vienna. Over 100 people were lined up along Grand Central and over 20,000 cars drove by during the protest, according to Kim Van Ryn, the co-leader of the group. A week ago, the Indivisible MOV made the decision to protest no war for oil after what happened in Venezuela. Carolyn Martin was protesting with the group. She said after what happened in Minneapolis with ICE, they made the choice to protest both incidents. After speaking with the protesters, there was one thing in common. Everyone said they felt devastated. Martin said it was important to support the protest because of what is happening in America is not okay.
This one felt especially important to me because I don't see any difference between that woman who was shot and killed and me. I've been exercising my right to protest in public spaces and using my voice, which we're all allowed to do, and to me that's what she was doing, and she got killed for it.
Our Allison Powers spoke with other protesters in Vienna, and we'll have more from them later tonight.